Imagine walking into your doctor's office feeling perfectly healthy, only to learn your cholesterol numbers are climbing. Within minutes, you're holding a prescription for statin medication and being told you'll likely need it for life. But what if there's an entirely different conversation we should be having about high cholesterol? What if those elevated numbers are simply your body's way of signaling a deeper problem that mainstream medicine is completely missing? The truth is shocking. For most people under 60 diagnosed with high cholesterol, the root cause isn't what your doctor discusses. It's not about eating too many eggs or needing better genetics. The real culprit is something called insulin resistance, and it's creating a silent epidemic that affects 1 in 3 American adults. Yet despite its prevalence, most doctors spend less than 2% of their time discussing natural solutions that address this underlying cause. Today, I'm revealing what mainstream medicine doesn't want you to know about high cholesterol. You'll discover why that number on your lab report is just a symptom, not the disease. More importantly, you'll learn exactly how to reverse this condition naturally without a single pharmaceutical intervention. This isn't about quick fixes or temporary solutions. This is about understanding what's really happening in your body and taking back control of your metabolic health. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete roadmap for addressing high cholesterol at its source. But I must warn you, this requires commitment and lifestyle transformation. The pharmaceutical pathway is easier in the short term, but as you'll soon discover, it's addressing the wrong target entirely. Let's begin. Here's what shocked researchers when they dug deeper into the cholesterol mystery. Insulin resistance, not dietary cholesterol or genetics, is the primary driver of elevated cholesterol in the majority of people under 60. This discovery changes everything about how we should approach this diagnosis. Research published in the Journal of Lipid Research demonstrated that insulin-resistant individuals exhibit increased cholesterol synthesis and decreased cholesterol absorption. Your body isn't simply processing too much dietary cholesterol, it's producing excess cholesterol internally due to metabolic dysfunction. Scientists at the Journal of Clinical Investigation found that insulin resistance creates an inflammatory state that directly triggers increased cholesterol production in the liver. Think of insulin resistance as your cells becoming deaf to insulin signals. Initially, your cells respond when insulin knocks on the door, but over time, they start ignoring those knocks completely. When this happens, your body doesn't just struggle with blood sugar. It triggers a cascade of metabolic problems where elevated cholesterol is merely one visible symptom among many. The groundbreaking research reveals insulin resistance as the common thread linking high blood pressure, elevated triglycerides, low HDL cholesterol, and increased cardiovascular risk. According to studies in the Pharmaceutical Journal, insulin resistance plays a primary and causative role in what doctors call metabolic syndrome. You're not dealing with multiple separate diseases. You have one fundamental metabolic dysfunction manifesting in different ways. The inflammatory environment created by insulin resistance is what actually drives your cholesterol numbers up. Published research in atherosclerosis showed that as insulin resistance increases, cholesterol metabolism shifts dramatically toward increased synthesis. Your elevated cholesterol is your body's response to chronic metabolic stress. Simply taking a statin to lower the number is like disconnecting your car's check engine light instead of fixing the engine. The warning disappears, but the problem continues to worsen beneath the surface. Understanding this connection is critical because it completely reframes how you should address high cholesterol. Before we dive deeper into the solution that can transform your health, I want to connect with you personally. If you're new to our channel, welcome. You've just joined a community of people who refuse to accept cookie-cutter medical advice. We're building something powerful here, a movement of individuals seeking authentic, science-backed health information. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we regularly share content like this to empower your health journey. And here's something I'm curious about. Drop a comment below telling us which country you're watching from. Are you in the United States, Canada, India, the UK, or somewhere else entirely? Let's see how global our health revolution really is. Now you're probably wondering, how do I know if I have insulin resistance? This is where conventional medicine fails you. Most doctors rely on standard tests like hemoglobin A1C or fasting glucose. But here's the problem. By the time these numbers become abnormal, Insulin resistance has been silently damaging your metabolism for 5 to 10 years or longer. There's a significantly better approach, though it's shockingly underutilized. The test you need is a fasting insulin level, which when combined with fasting glucose, allows calculation of the HOMA-IR score. Research published in Diabetes Care validated HOMA-IR as an effective early marker for insulin resistance, detecting problems years before standard glucose tests show any abnormalities. Here's what you need to know. Optimal HOMA-IR should be as close to 1 as possible. Values between 1.9 and 2.5 indicate early insulin resistance, while scores above 2.9 signal significant insulin resistance. Multiple studies in BMC endocrine disorders confirmed that HOMA-IR cutoff values around 1.85–2.05 effectively identify cardiometabolic risk in adults. This single test reveals metabolic dysfunction up to a decade before you'd be diagnosed with prediabetes through conventional testing. But there's an even simpler method requiring no blood work at all. Your body fat percentage tells a powerful story about insulin resistance. Modern smart scales that measure body composition can estimate body fat percentage at home, connecting to your smartphone to track measurements over time. These devices provide immediate feedback on your metabolic health for under $30. If you discover elevated HOMA-IR combined with excess body fat percentage, you can be fairly confident that insulin resistance has been building due to lifestyle factors. This is actually empowering information because insulin resistance caused by lifestyle can be reversed through lifestyle interventions. You unknowingly created this situation, but now you possess the knowledge to unmake it through committed action. Now we reach the cornerstone of naturally reversing insulin resistance and lowering cholesterol: your diet. If you're unwilling to change what you eat, nothing else will work. However, you don't need some extreme, unsustainable diet that leaves you miserable. You need to understand fundamental principles and apply them consistently. The modern food environment has engineered our metabolic failure. Research in the British Medical Journal showed ultra-processed foods now constitute over 50% of calories in the average diet, directly correlating with rising metabolic disease rates. These foods spike insulin levels repeatedly throughout the day, gradually wearing down your cell's ability to respond properly to insulin. Your dietary transformation starts with a simple visual approach. Divide your plate in half. One half should contain high-quality protein sources, lean meats, fish, eggs, or plant-based proteins like legumes. Protein is essential not just for muscle maintenance, but also for satiety. Studies in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition demonstrated that higher protein intake increases feelings of fullness and reduces overall calorie consumption without conscious restriction. The other half of your plate should burst with color from vegetables and select fruits. These are your antioxidant powerhouses, fighting the inflammation driving your cholesterol upward. Focus on leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, bell peppers, berries, and other nutrient-dense options. The fiber in these foods also slows glucose absorption, preventing insulin spikes that perpetuate insulin resistance. Notice what's drastically reduced: refined carbohydrates and added sugars. You don't need to eliminate carbohydrates entirely unless you choose ketogenic eating. However, most people consume far too many carbs relative to their activity level and metabolic health. Bagels, pasta, white rice, and bread should become occasional side dishes rather than meal foundations. The same principle applies to snacking. Choose Greek yogurt with almonds and blueberries instead of chips, cookies, or candy bars. Beyond what you eat, when you eat plays a crucial role in reversing insulin resistance and lowering cholesterol naturally. This brings us to time-restricted eating, a practice with significant scientific validation. Don't feel overwhelmed. This doesn't require extreme measures or impossible hunger management. The concept is elegantly simple. Shortening your daily eating window gives your body extended periods where insulin levels can drop to baseline. Research published in Cell Metabolism demonstrated that time-restricted eating improves insulin sensitivity, reduces inflammation, and promotes metabolic health independent of weight loss, though beneficial weight loss often occurs as a side effect. Start gradually. If you currently eat breakfast at 7 a.m., try pushing it to 8, then 9 over subsequent weeks. Many people find their optimal pattern with first meal around 11 a.m. or noon and final meal by 6 or 7 p.m. This creates a 16 to 18-hour fasting window and a 6 to 8-hour eating window. Research in nutrition and metabolism showed that a 10-hour eating window improved blood glucose and insulin sensitivity in type 2 diabetes patients. During fasting periods, your insulin levels remain low, giving cells a chance to restore insulin sensitivity. Some populations may find time-restricted eating more challenging due to hormonal differences, particularly women. Listen to your body carefully and adjust the approach to what feels sustainable. Early time-restricted feeding research published in Cell Metabolism found that eating earlier in the day aligned with circadian rhythms produced superior metabolic benefits. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistent improvement over time. Another valuable tool is calorie tracking. Energy balance fundamentally matters. If you consistently consume significantly more calories than you burn, fat loss becomes nearly impossible regardless of food quality. Applications like MyFitnessPal make tracking straightforward, helping you understand portion sizes and total daily intake. The beauty of combining time-restricted eating with mindful consumption is that shortened eating windows naturally reduce calorie intake without requiring intense willpower. If nutrition provides the foundation, physical activity supplies the framework supporting your metabolic transformation. This is absolutely non-negotiable for reversing insulin resistance and naturally lowering cholesterol. You don't need to become a fitness fanatic or spend hours in gyms daily. You need strategic, consistent movement addressing your body's specific metabolic needs. Let's start with the most accessible and underrated exercise form: walking. Simple walking has profound metabolic benefits. Research in diabetes care demonstrated that walking, especially after meals, significantly improves insulin sensitivity and glucose metabolism. When you walk after eating, your muscles actively pull glucose from your bloodstream without requiring as much insulin. This immediate benefit accumulates over time, gradually reversing insulin resistance. Make walking non-negotiable in your daily routine. Walk in the morning to jumpstart metabolism. Walk at lunch to break up prolonged sitting. Walk after dinner to manage blood sugar response. If you work in offices, walk around building perimeters during breaks. Every step counts, and unlike intense exercise, walking is sustainable for nearly everyone, regardless of fitness level. However, walking alone isn't sufficient for optimal metabolic health. You must build and maintain muscle mass through resistance training. Why? Muscle tissue is metabolically active and acts like a glucose sink, absorbing sugar from blood and improving insulin sensitivity. Research in the Journal of Applied Physiology demonstrated that resistance training significantly improves insulin action in people with insulin resistance, independent of body weight changes. Your goal should be 1 hour of intentional exercise daily, approximately 4% of your day dedicated to activity that will literally save your life and health. This hour should include cardiovascular exercise and strength training mix. For strength training specifically, commit to at least 20 minutes 3 times weekly. Structure sessions to alternate muscle groups. Upper body one day, lower body the next, with core work integrated throughout. You don't need gym memberships. Bodyweight exercises at home can be remarkably effective when performed consistently with progressive challenge. As you implement dietary and exercise changes, several supporting factors will dramatically enhance success or potentially sabotage efforts if ignored. These aren't optional extras. They're essential pillars of metabolic health working synergistically with everything discussed. First, hydration. The human body is approximately 60% water, and every metabolic process depends on adequate hydration. Most people walk around in chronic mild dehydration without realizing it. Water helps transport nutrients, remove metabolic waste products, and supports healthy insulin function. Aim for at least 8 glasses daily, adjusting upward if physically active or living in hot climates. Natural supplements can provide additional support. While they're not magic pills replacing lifestyle changes, certain supplements have robust research backing their metabolic benefits. Turmeric, specifically its active compound curcumin, has powerful anti-inflammatory properties. Research in multiple meta-analyses showed curcumin supplementation significantly improves insulin resistance markers, or HOMA-IR, reduces fasting blood glucose, and lowers hemoglobin A1c in people with type 2 diabetes and prediabetes. Ginger offers similar anti-inflammatory benefits and has been used medicinally for thousands of years. Cinnamon deserves special mention for cholesterol and insulin resistance. Research published in the Journal of Medicinal Food demonstrated that cinnamon supplementation improved insulin sensitivity and reduced fasting glucose levels. Multiple studies showed that 1/2 to 2 teaspoons of cinnamon daily can improve glucose metabolism, easily incorporated into foods or beverages. Fish oil supplements rich in omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, have extensive cardiovascular research support. Meta-analyses in the Journal of the American Heart Association demonstrated that omega-3 supplementation reduces triglycerides and may provide anti-inflammatory benefits for overall metabolic health. Research suggested that omega-3s at doses of 2 to 4 grams daily can lower triglycerides by 20 to 30%. When selecting supplements, quality matters enormously. Choose third-party tested products from reputable manufacturers, ensuring you receive what labels claim without contaminants. Supplements should complement, not replace, nutrient-dense whole food diets. There's an invisible force sabotaging millions of health efforts that most don't even recognize: chronic stress. Stress is epidemic in modern society, and its metabolic consequences are devastating. When stressed, your body releases cortisol and adrenaline, hormones designed for short-term survival. When these hormones remain elevated chronically, they wreak metabolic havoc and make reversing insulin resistance exponentially more difficult. Research in psychoneuroendocrinology clearly established links between chronic stress, elevated cortisol, and metabolic dysfunction, including insulin resistance, abdominal fat accumulation, and dyslipidemia. Cortisol directly opposes insulin's action, raises blood glucose, and promotes fat storage, particularly around your midsection. It's like driving forward with the parking brake engaged. You might move, but progress is painfully slow. This is why stress management deserves equal priority alongside diet and exercise. Implement a daily 1-hour rule for stress reduction, just as you do for exercise. What activities genuinely relax your mind and lower physiological stress response? This is highly individual. Some find intense exercise their best stress relief. Others prefer meditation, time in nature, engaging hobbies, quality time with loved ones, or simply watching favorite comedy shows. The key is intentionality. Stress relief doesn't happen by accident in our overscheduled, hyper-connected world. You must deliberately create space for activities lowering cortisol and restoring nervous system balance. Practices like deep breathing exercises, progressive muscle relaxation, or meditation have been validated in research published in JAMA Internal Medicine for stress-reducing benefits. Consider this reality. If you're eating perfectly and exercising consistently, but ignoring chronic stress, you're sabotaging 1/3 of potential results. You cannot out-exercise or out-diet chronic stress. Give stress management the serious attention it deserves as a fundamental pillar of metabolic health. Your elevated cholesterol won't improve until you address all 3 pillars: nutrition, movement, and stress management. If I could choose only one intervention beyond diet and exercise for metabolic health, it would be optimizing sleep. Yet sleep is often the first sacrifice when life gets busy, especially for younger individuals in 30s and 40s, juggling career demands and family responsibilities. This is a catastrophic mistake, silently undermining every other healthy choice you make. During sleep, your body performs essential maintenance and repair work that simply cannot happen while awake and active. Sleep is when cellular cleanup occurs, hormones rebalance, and metabolic systems reset. Research in the Annals of Internal Medicine demonstrated that sleep restriction significantly reduces insulin sensitivity. Just a few nights of poor sleep can temporarily induce insulin-resistant states, even in healthy individuals. The Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism published shocking findings. A single night of partial sleep deprivation induces insulin resistance in multiple metabolic pathways. Additional research showed that restricting sleep to 6 hours or less per night over 6 weeks led to a 14.8% increase in insulin resistance, with postmenopausal women experiencing even worse effects at 20.1% increased insulin resistance. Chronic sleep deprivation elevates cortisol, increases hunger hormones like ghrelin, while suppressing satiety hormones like leptin, and disrupts glucose metabolism. People consistently sleeping less than 6 hours nightly have significantly higher rates of obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease, according to large epidemiological studies. Your target should be your personal sweet spot, which for most adults falls between 6.5 to 8 hours nightly. This isn't negotiable or optional, it's fundamental. Treat sleep with the same importance as eating or breathing, because it's literally that essential for metabolic health. Practical sleep hygiene matters. Maintain consistent sleep and wake times even on weekends. Create dark and cool sleeping environments. Limit evening screen exposure due to blue light's disruption of melatonin production, and avoid caffeine after early afternoon. Poor sleep will undermine every other positive change you implement. We've covered substantial ground, from understanding insulin resistance as high cholesterol's root cause, to testing strategies revealing problems years earlier, to comprehensive lifestyle interventions including nutrition, time-restricted eating, exercise, supplementation, stress management, and sleep optimization. Now comes the most important question. How do you actually implement all this? The key is approaching this as comprehensive lifestyle transformation rather than temporary diet or quick fix. Insulin resistance developed gradually over years, and while reversal can happen relatively quickly once you're consistent with these principles, often showing blood work improvements within weeks to months, sustainable change requires genuine commitment. Start where you are, but start now. Don't wait for perfect Mondays or next month beginnings. Assess your current HOMA-IR score and body fat percentage if you haven't already, establishing your baseline. Then prioritize interventions giving most immediate impact. Cleaning up your diet by eliminating processed foods and excess sugars, implementing basic time-restricted eating patterns, and beginning consistent walking routines. As these foundational habits solidify, layer in resistance training, optimize your sleep schedule, and implement structured stress management. Track progress not just through scales, but through how you feel. Energy levels, mental clarity, hunger patterns, and overall well-being. Retest labs after 8 to 12 weeks of consistent implementation to see objective improvements. Remember that high cholesterol is merely a symptom of upstream metabolic dysfunction. When you address insulin resistance's inflammatory state through these comprehensive lifestyle strategies, cholesterol often normalizes naturally without medications. You're not just improving numbers, you're fundamentally restoring metabolic health with far-reaching benefits beyond cholesterol management. This is the pathway mainstream medicine should emphasize but doesn't. The pharmaceutical industry profits from lifelong customers managing symptoms rather than addressing root causes. You have the power to choose differently. You can demand better for yourself and insist on addressing causes rather than accepting lifetime pharmaceutical dependence. The path I've outlined today isn't easy, but it's effective and real. Unlike pharmaceutical interventions masking symptoms without addressing root causes, these lifestyle strategies actually reverse the metabolic dysfunction driving your high cholesterol. You're not managing disease, you're reclaiming health. Millions receive diagnoses of high cholesterol, prediabetes, or high blood pressure annually, and most are immediately funneled into pharmaceutical protocols without serious discussion of natural alternatives. The medical establishment spends perhaps 2% of effort on lifestyle interventions, while 98% focuses on prescription pads. This is backwards, and it's why we face epidemics of chronic metabolic disease. But you have choice. You can demand better for yourself and insist on addressing root causes rather than accepting lifetime medications and progressive disease. It requires work, commitment, and patience, but rewards, genuine health, vitality, and freedom from pharmaceutical dependence are worth every bit of effort. The research is clear. Insulin resistance is reversible. High cholesterol caused by insulin resistance is reversible. You possess everything needed to make this transformation. The question is whether you're ready to commit. If this video was helpful, kindly type yes in the comments. That motivates us to produce more content like this. If you found value here today, click that like button, share this video with anyone needing to hear this message, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss our upcoming content on natural health optimization. Your success is my success. Keep going, stay committed to these principles, and remember that you have far more control over your health than the conventional medical system wants you to believe. Natural reversal of chronic disease is possible when you address root causes. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay empowered, stay healthy, and never stop questioning mainstream narratives about your health.